Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm still working on the two Les Pauls, and I'm actually going to start on the Inlays for this 2006. And it's really just two that I'm working on. I've got two that have popped out, 5th fret and the 9th fret, and I've got to replace those. So let's get started on that today. Alright, well I've got two inlays to replace here like I said, and I've never done this before, so if I do something stupid, that's why. But anyway, let's just give this a shot. I'm going to try to make a template for one of these and see how that goes. And I should probably start on the thinner one just because, but I'm going to go ahead and start up on the 3rd fret or 5th fret so that you guys can see what I'm up to. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to take a post-it note and I'm just going to go ahead and align it with the top edge of that hole for the inlay. That's going to give me my top line. Then I'm going to make a pencil rubbing and try to catch the edges and the bottom line. And that will give me a sticky sort of note template that I can put on top of the inlay sheet that I ordered, and hopefully that will let me cut it out a little bit easier. Alright, well this gives me a starting point, and I just need to cut this out with some scissors. Alright, so I've been working on this inlay, and I've cut out a small piece of this pearloid sheet. It's made to look like mother of pearl, but it's not. It's plastic. Original Les Paul inlays are plastic, and some of these sheets are going to match better than others. This sheet doesn't match exactly the ones that are in here, but it's close enough that I don't think you'll notice it at a glance, especially once the strings are on it. If you haven't noticed it before, a lot of the inlays in the Les Paul are the same size. So like the 3 and the 5 are the same size, and the 7 and the 9 are the same size, and of course the 17, 19, and 21 are the same size. I'm not quite sure about the 15 and the 12. They look the same size, but they might be slightly different. I made this template, and I could reuse it for another one if I was making two, like for the 3 and the 5. But since I'm only making this one, I can leave this template on here while I'm doing my carving. But I have cut out a small sheet of this, attached my template to it, because remember it's sticky, it's a post-it note. And I've gone ahead and drawn a blue outline just in case the template comes loose. And I'm going to start just carving away at this with a razor blade. I don't have a better way to cut it. I wish I had a nice jigsaw or something, but I don't. But anyway, it won't take me that long to whittle that away. Now I've got a few extra parts that I want to throw on here in the meantime because I got some stuff that came in today. So I'm going to go ahead and install, I've got some knobs that come on here, so I'm going to put those on first. Now when I'm installing knobs, I want to go ahead and turn my pots all the way up, and I want to install the knobs so that roughly 7.5 points upward, and that will put the 10 facing the player. It kind of points back at the tailpiece or the bridge depending on where you are on the knobs. There we go. Now these knobs, some of them were already cracked. These aren't brand new knobs, so I'm not super worried about cracking them. Okay, well those fit nicely. I've got a black switch tip that I already installed. The output jack that I'm going to be using on this build is this gold pure tone multi-contact output jack, and I normally prefer using Switchcraft jacks, but this is something that you all recommended to me and I'm going to try it out. I'll post a link to these because you can get them from Amazon for a pretty reasonable price. But they make contact with the input cable in multiple places. So they grab the tip of the connector on both sides, and they also touch the body in multiple places. Okay, and with the jack installed, which I've got tightened down now, I can install the back plate and the switch cover, which is just a matter of putting in the screws. Alright, well it's really coming together now. Time to get back to this inlay. Alright, well I've been working on this for quite some time, but I actually have it fitting very nicely now, and it drops right into the space. It fits tight, and I've actually started to shave away some of the top where it protrudes from the surface, and I've been doing that with a razor blade. And by the way, if you're wondering what I used to make this, all I used was a set of 10 snips to cut a really rough shape, and then I used a sander to refine the edges and put in that radius. If I'd had my choice, I would have used a scroll saw or something like that, but then I just had to sort of refine it with a razor blade on the edges. So just scraping the edges very lightly and just removing just a little bit at a time. It fits really, really nicely now. So I've got one down. I'm going to go ahead and make the same Post-it note template for the second one, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started on gluing these in. And once I super glue these in, I've got to scrape down the surface with the razor blade to try to get it level with the fretboard. Then I'll polish them up, and then hopefully I'll be done. All right, well, here's where things stand with the inlays, and everything has worked out just perfect. I mean, I couldn't be any happier with it. These are completely smooth. You can't really even tell that they were replaced. They're just ever so slightly a different color than the Gibson ones. And actually, I had a problem with the 19th, and it actually popped out, or I noticed it was lifting up on one side, so I went ahead and popped it out. And I realized that the original inlays are painted white on the bottom to help bring some more of that white color through. So maybe if I'd have done that to these, I could have got them to match exactly, but for most purposes, nobody's ever going to know that happened. So I'm real happy with it. And I can't quite leave well enough alone. I want to give you guys a couple of still shots of the neck after it's been sitting for a couple of days. I'll actually give you two still shots. I'll give you a still shot of the 5th fret and the 9th fret inlays when I was fitting them, actually when they were missing, and then when I was fitting them. And I'll give you a shot of how everything looks now, a little bit of a far away shot and a closer up shot, so you can sort of see the way things are fitting now. But I'm really actually quite proud of it. It's really good for amateur work, I'll just say that much. The next on this process is going to be the Bigsby installation, and I'll probably have to get to that in the next episode. All right, back to the red 87. I'm going to install the jack plate that I just got. And I just picked up this unit from Vintage Forge. It's a nickel plated jack plate, and man, it looks awesome. Especially, you know, it matches the bridge and tailpiece. So really good option, because the original ones on these were stainless and they're real hard to find. So I think this one's going to work out great. Beautiful. Okay, so installing this is just a matter of plug and play like everything else in here. And that'll do it. All right, and one last piece that I've got for this is a set of back plates. And these come from Music Lily. And I just want to make sure that they fit, but I'm not going to install them just yet because I still have the buffing to do back here. Screw holes line up perfectly and they fit in the gaps, so I'm happy with these. All right, I've got one more set of Vintage Forge parts to install on this guitar, and that is the knobs. I'm hoping that these look as good as I thought they would. Okay, so they are an aged gold set, which ends up looking kind of copper, but it's, or amber, I guess is another way to say it, but man, I hope these look awesome. Oh yeah, I'm digging that look. All right, those look sweet. I've also got a set of Grover strap locks that I'm going to install, also nickel. So I'm going to do these probably off camera, but next time you see this, I'll probably be installing the nut because I've got to replace that cheap plastic nut that's on here. All right, y'all, well, I'm up late working on the 87, and I've gotten a few more pieces installed. I've got the strap locks installed. I've got the old nut removed. I've got the back and the sides buffed. And I've got these two plates done with final assembly. And I did the neck as well, so did the buffing on that. And I'm really close on this one. I think I'll be able to finish it next time with the nut installation. I'll be able to finish the 2006 next time with the Bigsby installation. And I think that's going to be the last episode in this series. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me through these two builds. I also appreciate the likes and the comments. And by the way, I've got some Amazon links in most of my videos. They're usually for the parts that are for those videos, but even if you don't need those parts, if you're ordering anything from Amazon and you use one of my links, it helps me out. It doesn't cost you any extra. I would appreciate if you would try that out. And I really love it when you guys subscribe, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks a lot.